delve into the mind of Matt Archbold, and we are really blessed to have him actually with us physically in the studio right now. I don't know how. I mean, he must have got up real early this morning and drove.
You know, and that's a good thing, because I know you and Christine drove in last night. So did you hit the weather coming in?
Oh, it was really bad. I've literally never seen lightning like that before. It was streaking across the sky, and then we pull up to the hotel. My wife stops right in front of the front door, and she was driving, and she stopped and says, "You're going to let me out here because of the lightning, right?" And then, okay. So then I had to go park behind the building, and the lightning was really going. Yeah. I was thinking, man, this could be it. But I'm pretty quick on my feet. You know, I can move a little bit. I got to be honest, though. I'd be a little insulted if I were you two right now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Because
we have no shame.
No, right. It's tough to insult you two.
It'd be very difficult, yeah.
But I've known you for 10 years and nothing. I mean, my wife and I have not ventured out here to see you at all. Yeah. But now all of a sudden you get Father Mike Schmitz, and all of a sudden I'm here. You know, my wife, and all of a sudden my wife is like, let's go out to see your little friends, Matt.
Yeah. You know? And let's be clear, I made my way to your neck of the woods once.
That's right.
I did that.
That's right.
But yeah, you never. But now here's the thing, and we're going to get into delving into the mind of one Matthew Archbold in just a few minutes. But I want to ask you this. You've got a little bit of time between now and the banquet. What are you thinking? Are you going to head down to Tony Pacos? What's on the list? Did you guys do some looking to see what is worth seeing while you're in the? You're going to go to the cathedral. You have to go look at
my
the
wife.
cathedral.
I didn't. So tell me where it is. But my wife and I. We had plans to both come in here because she said, "Oh yeah, I'd love to see you on the radio." And then when the alarm went off this morning, she's like, "You just go."
That was the plan last night.
You know, the wives are always smarter than the husbands.
But you know why? Because she laughed so hard she fell down when she was watching you dodge the lightning running through the parking lot. She's like, I haven't seen Matthew move that fast.
That's right. Her and the concierge are looking at the security footage, watching me.
Yeah. So the cathedral, Tony Pacos. If you had more time, definitely the Toledo Museum of Art.
And the museum,
yeah. But if I had to do a short list, it would definitely be Tony Pacos for lunch, and then take a look at the cathedral.
We've got this new Metro Park across the river from downtown, which has a skating ribbon, and it has all kinds of really neat stuff. And it all walks. You kind of walk right into the National Museum of the Great Lakes.
Oh my goodness!
Which is there if you like the boats, you know, and the ship history and history of the Great Lakes. That's spaced right here.
All right, so what else is on the mind?
Hot Dog Johnny's is a good one.
Yeah, that's good.
Now you're bringing it to my level.
If you go down to Fifth Street, there's a guy who's cooking outside, and man, that stuff is fabulous. Anyway.
I will be honest with you. I'm a little concerned about us Christians in that, you know, for the last 4 years, Catholics were really public enemy number one.
Oh yeah,
and you know, there's a little bit of swag to that. You know, the whole government's against you.
Yeah.
You know, they're watching us. They're infiltrating our masses, and now all of a sudden, Elon Musk has come along, and now he's public enemy number one. I just don't feel like I'm getting it done anymore.
Yeah, right.
Like we got to up our game a little bit, you know?
Right. Yeah, Elon Musk has passed us by as the most hated man in America.
Exactly. You know, they used to bomb pro-life clinics and, you know, vandalize churches, and now they're after Teslas. I kind of miss the old days, you know, when I felt like we must have been doing something right.
Yeah.
If they were attacking us, you know?
You know, isn't it the truth? The history of the church is you can test whether you are truly living out your faith. You better be persecuted a little bit.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, we're not abstinent, but we get the idea, or we get the sense sometimes that we're abstinent. I think sometimes because we start agreeing to things that we shouldn't be agreeing to because they're doing one or two things that we like, you know? We got to keep the fight going.
I agree that most Christians should be persecuted. I myself don't want to, but I'm hoping you two get persecuted very much, and I think it would be good for you. I really do.
You're so generous. You just want good spiritual things for us. I love that.
What a great Lenten exercise. So there's always a lot going on, and you do such a great job of commenting on what's going on. I don't know if you did you stay up and watch the whole. I don't know if we were able to live stream. Cory Booker's filibuster speech thing. Did he break into nursery rhymes after a while, or how does he keep going for 18, 20 hours?
The funniest thing is, all the newspaper coverage of that, all the media coverage is all about the fact that he spoke for 24 hours.
Yeah.
And no one, and I'm not kidding you, no one is reporting on what he actually said.
I haven't heard anything, no.
There's not one nugget, not one piece of wisdom, not one quote that you could make a poster out of. There's nothing. And it's just amazing. And I'm being honest, if a Christian gets up and speaks on behalf of God and of light and of faith, something beautiful is going to come out of there. Something shocking is going to come out of there. I mean, this is what you guys do.
Yeah.
Something that stirs the soul. But, when someone speaks for 24 hours and no one can remember what he said, that's not a good sign.
Not quotable line. Not one quotable line.
That's not a good sign.
It's true. No pull quotes at all.
Yeah, just the ability to speak. Look, we do that every day here. We talk, and probably not much quotable. But in any case, I guess there is a gift in the fact that you can speak. But
you look at even you were just doing the word of the day.
Yeah.
There's so much in that to unpack because we're not relying on ourselves.
Yeah.
When we do things like this, we really do look into the scriptures, and we're trying to consider our lives in the frame of what does God want for us, and and sometimes we mess up, and sometimes God has to make a straight line out of a crooked line, but he does that pretty well.
Well, and I always like to remind people, too, we have votes going on in the houses of Congress. We have Supreme Court decisions that are coming down every day. We have the great discussion, this big discussion going on about tariffs and the economy. And yet, I will promise you, there is a group of women gathering to pray their rosary today at 3 o'clock, and that's more impactful. And we forget it. We forget that the most impactful things are not the things that are being reported in the news. It's when we go in and spend some time in adoration before the Eucharist. It's when we gather as a people of faith tonight at Parkway Place and talk about Jesus. That event is going to have more impact on the world and the people in the world than anything that happens in D.C. today.
Absolutely. I go to daily mass most mornings, and I'm always amazed. There's 30 people or something around that number, and then a bunch of us stay for the rosary.
Yeah.
And it's just they're just normal people, and there's a funny thing going on that a new lady came in, and I guess she feels that she's paid her dues. She wants to do one of the decades, right? So she chimes in. She leads, but we already had another guy leading. So there's this little merry war going on, and they kind of do it together. And I just thought, you know what, God can make this a straight line too. Even this, and that is what he does. Even as we mess up, but as long as we direct ourselves towards. And
so you had the loudest decade ever.
Yeah, right.
It's so funny, and we're the worst. We're all over the map because a lot of old people. I always say, you want to feel young, go to daily mass. You'll feel young, but we can't hear each other.
Right.
So we're all over the map, and what part of the prayer we're in? There's people over there.
Third decade over here. Yeah, we're fifth over here. We pray a little quicker. Yeah.
Wait, which mystery are you in?
That's good stuff.
That's very funny.
It's good stuff. And look, and Jimmy waited 13 years to be able to lead the decade. I mean, so come on. I mean, he was faithful. He showed up every day.
Yep, absolutely.
Hey, one more of you die, and it's my turn. No.
I will not be usurped.
All right, lots to see on CreativeMinorityReport.com. I encourage people to check that out. I tell you, it's difficult not to talk about each story that you have posted on there. We have limited time, obviously, but
yes.
It's a great read. You always dig into the right places.
Thank you. I just hope and pray that God uses my crooked lines and somehow makes it straight. So that's. And if I can make people laugh a little bit. And when I first started, I really felt like the Catholic blogosphere was very, very serious, and sometimes, maybe a little too grimacy, you know, but I don't really find that's the case anymore. I do find there's in recent years we've the joy of the gospel has returned, and I think that has sent a wave. You know, when you look at who's funny and who's, you know, just joyful. There's a lot of good work being done out there in the Catholic world, and I really do think that's a big part of why the gospel is making a comeback, and you see it. I mean, Vanity Fair wrote a piece worried that the Catholic conversion machine, I think that's what they call it, the Catholic conversion machine is rolling again. They were worried that, you know, comedian Rob Schneider, Shia LaBeouf, Candace Owens, Jordan Peterson's wife, you know, that they're all becoming Catholic, and that concerned them greatly, you know. But it is that joy. And I think the secularists have really outed themselves as a grim-faced, don't you do that, wagging the finger type, and we've taken our place back as the counterculture, and, you know, let's have some fun with that.
Amen to that. And look, watch out when the giant starts laughing, because when we start laughing and embrace that joy and that peace in the midst of all the difficulty, we are very, very, very attractive, and I do believe that's what's happening. Very thankful for it. We're seeing the numbers rise for vocations. We're seeing the numbers rise for people coming back to the faith as well. Thank you very much, Matthew. God bless you, brother.
Great to hear you always, and great to see you.
Yes.